Good evening and welcome to this regularly scheduled board meeting of Normal Public Schools Board of Education, District number 29. Glad you're here tonight. Welcome, Ms. Savannah Todd. Glad you're here. Can you please call the roll?
Mr. O'Hara?
Here.
Mr. Ruggiers?
Here.
Ms. Brockman?
Here.
Ms. Collier?
Here.
Excellent. If you guys could rise with me as we have fun tonight with Scotty Timms and Kira Timms from Lincoln Elementary. They're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge a salute pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of Oklahoma. Its symbols of peace unite all people.
So you were right. So
Always great to see the elementary students come and lead us. Love it, love it. Next is public communications. We welcome public comment. However, it's necessary to limit public comment to 3 minutes per person. You'll be given a 1-minute warning prior to the end of the 3-minute period. Board members cannot respond to questions or comments during public communications. Ms. Adrian Hall.
Thank you, Dr. Nick and the board for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Adrian Hall, and I'm the president of the Professional Educators of Norman. I would like to comment on the district plan regarding recruitment and retention. I have appreciated the opportunity to share with district leaders the concerns that I've received regarding the Oklahoma Teacher Empowerment Program. While Penn has reservations as to the overall impact that this program will have on the Norman teaching community in regards to ongoing collaboration with colleagues, the lack of uniformity in the teacher of the year selection and other evaluation process, and other leadership opportunities within the district. We are committed to the idea that if the certified staff were to vote on this program to present it to the board, again, that every certified member would be able to find themselves on the rubric. Norman is one of the few large locals within our area that is not participating in this program, and I feel that that's a great place for us to be. I have been a part of this district for the last 20 years, and the one thing that has been prominent in those years is that the pride that Norman has of doing things the Norman way and setting themselves apart. This is our moment to say to our state legislators to find another way to support education fully in all areas. This is one option that would not support all of our certified staff. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have a motion for the consent agenda?
I make a motion to accept the purchase orders and approve the consent docket as listed in the agenda.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Ms. Savannah?
Mr. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Ruggiers?
Yes.
Ms. Brockman?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Moving on to agenda item number 5A, Strategic Plan and Survey Overview by Ms. Holly McKinney.
Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, members of the board. I am honored to bring to you results of this year's strategic plan survey that was given in August to staff members, certified and support, parents, community members, high school students, and middle school students. Are you pushing for me, Christy, or do I push? Good job. Gotta give myself a pep talk. All right. So, because I will hit one button wrong eventually. One time, at least one time in here. So, as you know, we have 6 strategic areas in our strategic plan: teaching and learning, safety and security, culture belonging, maximize the budget, recruit and retain, and improve communication. And all 6 areas were included in our strategic survey. Just a quick reminder of the timeline between the survey was first year that we've implemented the new cycle was in 2022. The first year that we gave this survey was in August of 2023 to measure stakeholder perceptions of our growth and our work within these 6 strategic areas. This year marks the 3rd year that we've given the survey, and we have some great year-over-year data to share with you. So before I get into the graphs that are on here, a couple of things that you'll notice. I'm not going to read all the scores to you, but overall, our survey results have remained statistically strong and consistent within 1 or 2, for the most part, percentage points in our year-over-year data. We'll continue to watch that. What that shows, it shows that their strong perceptions are being maintained and not trending downwards. As a reminder, when the results are already strong, large annual increases are not typical. So the fact that they're already strong results is something to celebrate, and that we're maintaining them is something to really celebrate. So if you'll look at this first table, it'll show you how many overall participants completed or started the survey. And just from last year, if you take parents, certified staff, support staff, and community members, we had a 37% increase in the participation, which is incredible. So we had about 6,000 people, the adults that took the survey. We continue to increase the number of high school and middle school students, not quite at that rate, but we're getting a large percent of our students, our secondary students, to take the survey, which is really great. Now, just because they start the survey doesn't always mean they finish the survey. And we've tried to make the survey, it's a rather long survey. We've tried to make it as user-friendly as possible, but we do have 6 areas that we really do want to get their true feedback on. So you'll see the first year we had 65% completion rate, their first year, and since then it's held steady at 73% completion rate. And for students, it's held pretty strong in the 84. It dropped a little bit to 81% this year. But people that are starting the survey, a large majority of them are finishing to the very last question. And we really appreciate them hanging in there. So in the area of teaching and learning, there are 5 total questions in that for our participants, for both students and adults. These are just the number of people that answered the questions in this particular strategic area. So you can see we have a large number of participants, almost 5,000 adults, and what is that? I don't know. Quick math, a little over 4,000 students that answered these questions. So as a quick reminder to everyone that may be watching or listening into board, we have a Likert scale for most of our questions, and the responses are unsure, I don't really know about that, or I need more information about that. Let's see, where are my scales? I knew I'd forget. Have them written right. I don't know, somewhere. So it says unsure, then we have no progress. I know it exists, but I don't really see any progress on it. Limited progress. Making progress means you're You're doing a great job. Keep going and excelling. It's like we're really proud of what you're doing. You're really accomplishing great things. So those are the 5 areas. These scores that you'll see on the screen tonight are limited progress, making progress, and excelling. So that's what the percentages are on the screen, just for your knowledge. So in the area of teaching and learning, you'll see in all 5 questions, and we have really, really pretty high scores. You can see there how the adults, and the adults, again, are staff members, community members, and parents, as well as high school students and middle school students. Between preparing them, they feel like that we do prepare them to exceed at that next level, as well as holding steady, equipping them with academic skills as needed beyond the K-12 setting. High 80s we create opportunities for them to explore and investigate areas of interest, as well as solid 80s in the tailoring learning to their needs. This is a question that we have the questions year over year so we can compare, but I did put in parentheses from input from our elementary parents and teachers. Well, we don't necessarily focus on a college and career. In elementary school, we definitely want to expose them. So we want to know how they feel. Do we create opportunities to explore college and career in elementary? And for secondary, do we create a college and career focus for students? You'll see that the student scores, especially in high school, are much higher than the adults when I really pull out the data. The elementary scores are still much lower than the middle school and the high school scores. So we have some work to do to communicate what do we do with students in the area of exploring different college and career pathways as connected to their learning. So we'll continue to work on that. Culture of belonging had 10 questions, and you can still see here people are holding strong. We've got 4,500 responses, as well as the adult responses, as well as the students. What you can see trends here is everything's in very solid scores and pretty similar, if not the exact same score from year over year in those mid-80s. The question, do we facilitate, promote, and value student voice? Dropped a little bit in the high school students, but maintaining strong in the others. We will continue to dig into that. Do we deliver a full range of social and racial? Again, strong, consistent scores between all groups. Learning spaces. We have lots of support there. Do we support friendships and a sense of belonging? We have middle school and adults are a little higher than those high schools. Do we promote and support a culture of respect? Those mid-80s, again, very, very high school scores for the number, and we continue to maintain even though we have more people taking the survey. Empathy towards those that are different than us, strong 80% for adults year over year. That hasn't changed despite the increase, which I thought was great, and strong with the students as well. Does every adult contribute to students' well-being, and do we create capable citizens? Again, very solid, indicates that the perception is we continue to excel in this area. We can always do better. We're not perfect, but very, very excited to see that their perception is we continue to do a great job there. In safety and security, we have 6 questions for adults and 5 for students. There was a new question in the survey this year that we wanted to kind of dig in a little bit that I'll talk more about. You'll see, again, consistency in the scores year over year, if not increases in this area, which we're very proud of the collective effort for safety and security. So meeting the mental, social, and behavior needs, as well as do students feel physically safe in our schools, see very strong scores there. Do students feel emotionally safe? And do adults put students' need first? Upper 70s, high 80s in some of them for the adults. Do you feel safer in schools? Staff and parents, I split those out for this one so you can see 95% of staff, which is pretty incredible score, and 88% of parents and community. So very proud of that. The new question this year was a little bit different. We worded it just a little bit different for students. The adults is, I feel that having a school resource officer in the building contributes to a safe environment for students and staff. And the students was just an I. I feel having a school resource officer in my school building helps create a safe environment for students and staff. So slightly different, same question. You can see that this is a slightly different Likert scale, and it had 4 points to it: strongly disagree, disagree, agree, or strongly disagree. And so we pulled out the strongly agree and agree. You'll see all in the 90s. Also asked an open-ended question and open-ended response. Here you have, I let you know how many people actually completed the open response question. And how does having an SRO at school make you feel? For parents, most of the responses reflect a sense of safety and security. Many of them appreciate them there as a protective measure in case something happened. There were some mixed feelings or skepticism, citing concerns about the presence of maybe an armed person, but overall, prevailing sentiment is one of increased security. Staff, very, very similar. Largely responses of support and appreciate the quick response time of having someone there. There were a few that expressed concerns about potential negative impacts on marginalized students. So there were a few mixed responses in there as well, but overall, supportive of that. What secondary students, what did they think about it? So overall, they really appreciated. They felt like they felt protected, and they felt reassured by SRO's presence. They relief knowing that someone's there to handle emergencies. There were a few that expressed indifference or mixed emotions. I don't know my school resource officer, or I don't really have any idea of what they do, or a few with discomfort with police. And although all of those, the overarching is positive. This was really interesting. There was a comment about, there are a couple of comments about maybe the need for more additional measures like metal detectors. That was not mentioned in the adults, just the students. That was an interesting comment. Improved communications, 4 questions, again, holding really strong with a number of responses in this area. We hold steady in those 80s. High school student upper 70s in that second question. Give you a minute to kind of look at those. Do you feel our communications are timely and effective and satisfactory? At 90% from the adults, that continues to increase year over year. High school students, 80, and middle school, 81. And then, of course, do we celebrate our successes? 88% strong, 80s in for the students there. I sound like a broken record, which is a good thing. We're strong, steady, consistent. Recruit and retain, 5 questions for the staff, 2 questions for the community. We added an extra question here, an additional question to kind of dig into some things, and you still see the response rate is still really high in this section. These 2 are only went to staff. Does our staff recruiting and retention efforts align with the mission to prepare and inspire all students to achieve their potential, and do we provide opportunities for educators to grow? Very, very strong, high 90, in the 90 and above % from our staff in those areas, which is really reassuring of all the efforts that we've made collectively to be able to do that. That third question is the only question that we asked in the original questions that we asked parents: do we provide opportunities for educators to be recognized for their expert skills while remaining in the classroom? You can see that combined is a 77%, but when you look at the staff, believe it's an 89%, and then community and parents is 65%. So that creates some wonders, like, do they know what we're doing? Can we make our recognitions maybe more public? And so really being able to inform our parents and our community of the amazing work that our teachers are doing while remaining in the classroom. And then the last one was staff only. Do new teachers receive appropriate differentiated support? Made a lot of efforts there, and that increased by 1%. This is a new question. Again, the Likert scale was strongly disagree, disagree, agree, and strongly agree. So worded slightly different from a different lens. The staff was very self-reflective. I experienced diverse needs and or came from a diverse background as a student, which helps me relate and support to students from a variety of backgrounds. Parents, community, and students was a little bit different. I believe that NPS teachers and staff represent the different backgrounds, experiences, and cultures of our student populations. And so you can see here the responses. What's really interesting is 77% of our staff that answered this question identified as either having a diverse experience or a diverse background. But the perception of parents, communities, and students is we've worked really hard to make sure that we can relate to those who may have different experiences to us that have diverse backgrounds. 87% of parents, community, 94% of high school students, and 92% of middle school students really relate to that. Question. Maximize the budget has one lily question. Still strong response rates there. Do resource allocations reflect our school goals and objectives? You can see adults are steady in that 72% range, and high school students and middle school students are in the strong 80s. Satisfaction scores. These are 2 questions at the end of the survey that ask them to rate a 0 to 10 how they feel. So on a scale of 0 to 10, how satisfied are you with your school? You'll see the graph on the left side is adults year over year, and the one on the right is the secondary students. You only have 2 years because middle school students came on late last year. They didn't take the survey the first year. Obviously, 0, we don't want zeros, which means they're not satisfied at all, to a 10. So we're really looking at that 7, 8, 9, 10 score and what's happened over the last 3 years. So I'll tell you in the adults, it's increased by 3 percentage points, and at 7, 8, 9, it has decreased 3 percentage points at 0 through 6. And the middle school students are a similar trend, up 3% in the 7 to 10 and down 3% in the 0 to 6. And the second one, how likely are you to recommend your school to a friend or colleagues? Again, similar trends, up 4% for adults from that 7 to 10 range, and the others down. Students was interesting because it was actually up about 2% on some of the scores of 7 to 10, but that 0 to 6, and really it was 4, 5, and you can see there 5 and 6 that actually had a little bit of an increase for students. So I'm eager to learn and maybe dig into that with our student groups to learn a little bit more about that. So this year, just a little bit of what we do with the strategic plan update and survey timeline. You can see there that we opened the survey, the dates the surveys were open. Tonight, we'll have another little green check mark. That'll be great. I like check marks on my list. Tomorrow, the principals will get their school data, and they will be digging through their individual school data, presenting that to staff, and looking at their improvement goals and looking at what they want to share with their families. And then we have 3 listening tours this fall, or this year really, that will be around each of the strategic areas. First one, September 23rd, over maximize the budget and recruit and retain a world-class workforce. And with that, I believe that's my last slide. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Appreciate the presentation. Do we have any questions? Mr. Shears.
On the safety and security section for the question, do you feel safe in your school? What were the answer options for that?
Let me make sure let me go back. This one right here, how does having a school resource officer at my school make you feel?
I think there was one that said, do you feel safe in the building? Maybe one before that.
Probably this one right here, maybe. I feel that having school resource officer in the school building contributes to a safe.
Maybe before that, sorry.
Actually, this one. How about this one right there?
Yes. Do you feel safe in our school? You said that you took agree and strongly agree. Was there a neutral answer on this one? What were the options?
So this one has been in the survey for originally, and so this one was the unsure, need more information,
Unsure,
no progress, limited progress, making progress. The one that changed the Likert scale was the new question, which is this one right here. I feel that having a school resource officer in the building contributes to a safe environment. So that's where the Likert scale, because since it was a new question, it didn't really fit the other Likert scale.
And what were the options on that one right there?
Strongly disagree, agree, strongly agree.
So there really wasn't like a true neutral. There was just...
There was not a neutral.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Yeah, Ms. Collier.
I was gonna piggyback off of you, Alex, because one of my comments and thoughts were that in order to flush out the question, that we could actually list all the parameters that we have for safety measures that are in the strategic plan, kind of as a breakout. Maybe this is an overarching question, and then you're able to comment on percentage-wise, like, you know, the other elements, so you can really see the safety spread about how the audience truly feels in all the areas of safety from our strategic plan that we have.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. And, you know, also, I think when you don't give a neutral option, it kind of pushes people that maybe don't necessarily agree, but they don't want to seem like they disagree. So they kind of push themselves over to the agree side a little bit, which skews the data a little bit. So just to clean up the veracity of the data, you know, that might be useful. And then, you know, I think also maybe a question sort of testing how people would like the what are the things that people feel most improve the safety of their school might be helpful in the future as well. Because I think a lot of people, when they are asked, does having a school resource officer in your school building contribute to a safe environment, you know, we're raised in the society to say yes. But if you ask them, would you rather have a school resource officer or another counselor? You know, I think that would be really helpful information as well, you know, going forward.
Thank you.
Questions, comments?
Just wanted to add a little bit on that part of it, just for the fact of on the open question, we did give them that opportunity to kind of, so we didn't limit them in their ability to go ahead and expand past the survey questions. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was clear on that, that there was that open-ended dialogue, and we're happy to share the length of the responses, but I think Mrs. McKinney captured pretty much a good synopsis of that.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. I appreciate that.
One comment from me, well, two. Thank you. I know this is a lot of work and a lot of time, but it's the most valuable information we have is hearing back in all these different categories. I am curious of why we're seeing the dip in the high school kids. And I'm really curious of being able to dig in and see why is there that? Will that be a trend? What's going on? Do you have a comment, Dr. Mayorino? Oh, so when you get that, if we could have that back, and I just appreciate the principals spending their time to dig in to see how their schools are doing. And, you know, this is a lot of data, and I know they've got a lot on their plate, but this is important that we see what's driving the numbers behind each of these, good or somewhat maybe trending the other direction.
Completely agree with that. And, you know, as she said, we have this broken down by school too to see if there's a trend at the school level. One thing you mentioned, but I want to drill into, is the participation rate going up. It's such a significant rate, and then still maintaining the scores. And even with, you know, that could be a part of the student drop, is there's more taking it. But either way, it's something we want to drill into. And as she said, we're going to talk to our student groups and also drill in by school. Is there a trend at a certain site versus taking just the whole overview?
I think the numbers went up dramatically in the adults, and I do want to comment on that. When you see a 30-some% increase, usually that means we've done something wrong or there's people frustrated. But to see that much of an increase in the numbers by the adults and to still see the same positive or the positive growth, that's unbelievable. That's a great job by all of you guys. Thank you for that.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Anything else?
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Next is 5B, Proposed Policy Updates by Dr. Williams and Hallie Drusen.
And this is Hallie's first time at the mic, so smile.
Hello, board members. Today I'm bringing to you some proposed policy updates that we are recommending that we adopt into our Board of Education policies. There are three types of policy updates that we're bringing today. One we have brought for information before. That is our policy on immigration and district students. This is Last time we brought it, it was an information item. Now we're bringing it for action and adoption. So this is action on the adoption of a policy on commitment to education, safety, and privacy of district students. The remaining two types of policy changes are coming directly for action because they are required by law and also being required by our accreditation officers. And we want to make sure that we get these in as they are coming in with their visits. So the first one is on, or the first three policy changes are on discrimination and anti-Semitism in that category. And that is in regards to Senate Bill 942. And the second type of the new legislative changes is related to child abuse. That's going to be changing two policies, 3012 and 3013, and we're also removing some outdated language. This is related to three different pieces of legislation. So we had Senate Bill 53, Senate Bill 553, that's not a typo, there were two bills, and House Bill 2798. All three of these related to child abuse, and we are combining those to come into our policy this year. All of these legislative changes were, again, from this session 2025. Again, our first policy has already come forward for information and has been provided both to you and to the public as part of our board agenda. So through this new policy on immigration and district students, Norman Public Schools is affirming its commitment to providing safe, inclusive, and high-quality education to all students, regardless of immigration status, in accordance with its legal obligations, like Filer v. Doe. And we had significant discussion of that policy during our last board meeting. And this is, and I apologize, so there were just some key points on this, on privacy and information protection, dealing with immigration and customs enforcement, and student access by law enforcement. We've seen all of these points before regarding how we are going to treat students as well as our law enforcement officers under this policy, as well as providing guidance. The other two sections of the policy were on providing support and communication with families regarding any immigration actions that are happening that are beyond our lane, our education lane. Then we have our.
So should we stop in between and ask if there are comments on each one? And this first one was a policy brought by board members. And I want to make sure board members have an opportunity to make any comment. And something Hallie didn't mention, you might notice we will take these as one vote as opposed to individually. That's why she's going through them. I know we've shared that with you before, but wanted to say that publicly. So on this first new policy, any comments or questions on that?
Comments or questions? Mr. Shears.
Just that I've seen a lot of my constituents sort of asking me questions related to this policy, and I really wanted to just take the opportunity to thank Board Member Brockman for bringing this policy to us, because I think there is a hunger in this community for a kind of response like this. So thank you.
You're welcome. And also, I would just like to point out that it was a reflection of what the district was already doing. On the whole, we're putting it in writing so that our community knows we're taking care of kids.
Thank you.
Further? Okay. So moving on to this second area of policies. So again, Senate Bill 942 is requiring that schools integrate the definition of anti-Semitism into student and employee discrimination policies and treat anti-Semitism the same way that we address racial discrimination. It also separately requires that we electronically report incidents and complaints about anti-Semitic behavior, discrimination, and harassment to the Oklahoma State Department of Ed's Title VI coordinator that they are responsible for designating. In this, we have kind of grouped these three policies together. We've added the same two sentences, two sentences to two policies and then one of those sentences to the other. So our policy 3012 adds the definition of anti-Semitism to the student discrimination, harassment, and retaliation policy, and also reflects our reporting requirement. Policy 3008 is our employee discrimination policy. It again adopts the definition of anti-Semitism and reflects our reporting requirement. In 3013, that's a little bit different. That's our teacher's code of conduct. We have only added the definition there as the reporting requirement was already reflected elsewhere. This is the last slide on this. Are there any questions regarding this policy?
Don't think.
The third area of policy changes is in regards to our child abuse policy. There were 3 bills. So Senate Bill 53 expanded the definition of child abuse to include sexual battery. Senate Bill 553 provides that a career teacher may be dismissed and or not reemployed for failure to report child abuse, and requires that school employees annually sign an attestation acknowledging their responsibility to report suspected child abuse or neglect. House Bill 2798 provides that any superintendent or school administrator that knowingly and willfully fails to promptly report or interferes with the prompt reporting of child abuse or neglect will be guilty upon conviction of a felony. That felony carries up to 2 years. So these are the 3 policies. I will note that we have and continue to provide education to our staff regarding child abuse in addition to these specific requirements here, as we have done for a number of years. These policy changes, so 3012 is our main child abuse policy. So we have added a few provisions consistent with that. You can see the green language, what we've added. This is just consistent with statute. It is the exact language that is required. 312, again, puts all 3 in there, all 3 bills. So we do have another provision here. 313, again, is our standards of performance and conduct for teachers. So we have just added the one change there, that career teachers may be termed or non-reemployed for failing to report suspected child abuse or neglect consistent with law. And in our policy 3002, that was actually a duplicative policy that when we were going through here, we wanted to make sure we just had one policy on child abuse and it was very clear what it was, and we weren't relying on an outdated policy at all. Are there any questions regarding this policy?
Questions or comments? I have a comment about Senate Bill 553. I would like to see our friends at the legislature remove the annual signing of the form and the attestation. Once you sign it once, that should be enough. And it's onerous on all the schools to continue to have one more thing for people to sign. If you sign it once, you've agreed to it, you understand it, and you have the knowledge. So that needs to be amended in this upcoming session if someone so chooses to do so. And we'd appreciate it. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
All right. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to accept and approve the Board of Education policy changes as listed in items A, B, and C.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Savannah?
Mr. O'Hara?
Yes.
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 Thank you, Hallie. Appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Dr. Nick, do we have any new business? Do we have any new business?
No new business.
Administrative staff reports?
I do have a brief staff report. We'll wait for the slides to come up. Are we ready to go? All right, so I want to start off with a huge congratulations to our 18 National Merit Scholars. They are all listed on the screen. We wanted to put their pictures up there, but just too many to put on one slide. So yeah, I said that. So just really excited and proud of these kiddos, their teachers, their families. Great accomplishment. Congratulations, and we'll have them at a future board meeting so we can celebrate them together. I want to give a shout out to all of our staff, teachers, and students for their work on implementation of the device and ID policies that we have put in place this year. Did some nerdy math on it, and I think we've had 20-something days of school. We've had between middle school and high school around 900 infractions per day. That's 7 or 8 a day per site. And you think about the thousands of kids that are at each one of our sites, that's pretty darn impressive. So hats off to everybody on that's the Yonder pouch piece. And on IDs, just once again, from the safety and security side and just all the pieces, appreciate the effort and I say effort as all caps, the effort that our site leaders and teachers and everyone has put into making sure that is consistent across our district. So thank you for all the work there. Next, I want to acknowledge Hispanic Heritage Month runs from today through October 15th, and on Friday we will have our ribbon cutting to celebrate our inaugural year for the Spanish Language Academy. So looking forward to that, and if you're available, please come by and see the little bitties. It's a really neat place. So I know you guys have all received an invite to that, but just wanted to say that to our community and celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. So next, our first of 3 community listening sessions, which Holly referenced earlier, is Tuesday, September 23rd at 6 p.m. at the CAL. Topics: maximizing the budget and recruit and retain. And I want to say a little bit about these listening sessions. Yes, we will share some data. Yes, we will kind of talk about the topics, but this truly is a listening session. We invite people to come in and talk about what's on their mind. And we want to have a conversation, but to have a session, we have to put some topics there and maybe prompt some questions that are out there and seed some information for people to get the dialogue started. But these are truly listening sessions. Entire cabinet will be there. Hopefully the board's able to show up. But we want this to be a conversation, and we want to be able to document that conversation and put the responses online as well afterwards. So it's an invite to the community, not just school people. Come and have a conversation with us so we can hear you, hence the listening. We want to know what you think. So we've got that, and then I'm going to say this, but you're not going to get to hear it till later. Mr. Morris's choir students at Irving adapted the text and used the tune from the song Yonder Come Day, an African-American folk song originating off the coast of Georgia, to put together their own little Yonder pouch song. So we are going to play that for you guys as we transition into executive session. I thought it would be kind of awkward to play it now, then say, is there a board report? So when we transition into executive session, we are going to be able to cue that song up. Correct, Christy? Awesome. And it is really, really neat. So that is my report.
Thank you. Any Board of Education reports? Alex.
Yes, since the last board meeting, we have celebrated Labor Day, and I would love to take this opportunity to thank our wonderful, amazing Teachers Union, Professional Educators of Norman. We have so much to thank and be thankful for the unions in our country who have fought for our rights as citizens and as workers. So thank you for continuing on that work as an amazing union. Thank you.
Ms. Brock.
Would love to second that. You guys are doing a fabulous job. Thank you for representing our teachers. I would like to point to the fact that I've had teachers sending me pictures of empty halls in between during class time, and I can tell you that that has not always been the norm. So I want to emphasize to Stephanie and to our whole cabinet that having set consequences for students works. They like structure. They like consequences. They are not using their phones. They are happily finding other things to do during their time, which kind of goes to show that this is something we probably could have come down a little harder on a little earlier. And I'm so thankful for the state law that kind of has reinforced this and showed us the way. I have a lot of people who have talked about social media, I think, in the past week or so, and its detrimental effects. And I said, well, we've shown that 8 hours without social media can work. And so hopefully now parents can partner with us to take care of the rest of the day. It is a team effort. This is a village, and I hope that everyone gets that the less time students are on devices, the better. And we have done our kids no favors by giving them unfettered access to devices this entire time, myself included, just as guilty. So now that we know better, it's time to do better, everyone. And I wanted to say we attended the COSA OSSBA conference last week, and it was a wonderful event and a great opportunity for us to be reminded of our duties and things we could be doing better and to network. And so thank you for the opportunity to go to that. And the ribbon cutting at Norman North's new stadium was fabulous. And I'm here to tell you what a fun game. I think Dirk and Tori and I had a blast. And it was wonderful to see the Tigers beat Norman North on their own turf. Sorry, former Tiger. But it's wonderful that Norman North has its own field now. So congratulations. Great, lots of things to celebrate.
So Don, can I add to that? You made me think of something. And on Friday, Harv Collins 2.0 we're having a ribbon cutting as well. So looking forward to that. And you should, if you don't already have information, have that information.
Ms. Collier, anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I enjoyed being with you, Dirk, and meeting the Teacher of the Years, the roundtable, meeting everyone and being able to introduce and hear their questions and thoughts. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to all the hardworking teachers, and especially those that are in that distinguished group.
Yeah, we had a good time. The first meeting of the year's speed dating, where all the cabinet members go and table to table and explain what they do, and the board get to explain what we do, and it was a good time. Great group and great representation amongst all of our wonderful teachers across the district. Just want to pile on. So thankful for the voters for Norman North Stadium and all the other projects that we're doing, but it was great to see the band kids and just, all the things we talked about, be able to stay at school, be able to walk across the parking lot, be able to participate in all the things that they've deserved for a really long time. So, and it's an unbelievable stadium right on the field. Did a great job with design and construction, so thank you for that. Just a really, really top-notch stadium, and also happy to see that Harv has been tigerized and oranges everywhere, and the field looks different. And it'll be fun to be at that ribbon cutting on Friday. That is it. Anybody else for any Board of Education reports? If not, if we could have a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Executive Session Authority 25 Oklahoma Statute Sections 307B1, B2, and B7 to discuss the employment matters listed on the agenda as item A.
Second.
Ms. Savannah?
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Ruggiers?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Yes.
make a motion to return to open session.
Second.
Ms. Savannah?
Mr. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Ruggiers?
Yes.
Ms. Brockman?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
The board convened in executive session pursuant to Executive Session Authority 25 Oklahoma Statute, Section 307B1, B2, and B7. The board was joined in executive session by Superintendent Dr. Nick Migliorino and Attorney Hallie Drusen to discuss employment matters. Item A, as listed on the agenda. No other matters were discussed, and no votes were taken while in this closed session. This concludes the minutes of the executive session.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Ms. Savannah?
Mr. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Ruggiers?
Yes.
Ms. Brockman?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.